Good morning, my dear children. So, today we are going to take up the third chapter in the book Beehive. The name of the chapter is The Little Girl. This particular short story is written by Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield was a prominent New Zealand modernist short story writer and a poet who was born and brought up in New Zealand. Her original name was Kathleen Mansfield Murray, who wrote under the pen name Catherine Mansfield. She has written many short stories, among which The Little Girl is one of the famous one, and it is taken up as a lesson for you all. Now, what does this chapter, The Little Girl, deal with? So here, this chapter talks about a small girl who is really scared of her father. She is very afraid to talk to her father, to be with him. And this story tells us how the girl's feelings for her father changes towards the end of the story. And most of the children are scared of their fathers because sometimes the fathers are strict at home, or some of you might be scared of your mothers also. But the feelings what is told in this story is probably found in each and every home. And when I read this story and explain it to you, it will be more interesting for you to know how this little girl who was scared of her father tries to understand her father at the end of the story. Now let's begin the chapter, The Little Girl. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning, before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. So here in this paragraph, we can understand, my dear children, that every morning the father has a habit of coming and kissing his daughter a goodbye to work. And the daughter is so happy at this goodbye because she is relieved, she is happy that father is going off to work, and she feels very happy to hear the noise of the carriage. Now the father goes in a carriage, a horse carriage might be, that grows fainter and fainter. That means the sound becomes lesser and lesser. So she is very happy at the point where father goes to work. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my papers are out there, and bring me my slippers." So whenever he came back from work in the evening, so he used to shout, telling that, or he used to tell in a loud voice, asking for his tea, asking for the paper, and asking for his slippers. Kezia, mother would call her. "If you're a good girl, you come down and take off father's boots." Now, the girl's name was Kezia. When the father used to come home, Kezia used to be called to take away her father's slippers or boots. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs. Slipping down the stairs means quietly walking, and she was not happy to come down also. More slowly still across the hall and push open the drawing room door. Now Kezia was not very interested to come down because she was scared of her father. But since she was called to do so, she would come very slowly to the drawing room. By the time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? Now, as soon as he comes there, he used to put on his spectacles to read the newspaper. And father wearing a big spectacle and looking at her was more terrifying in the sense scary for Kezia. And he used to ask her, were you a good girl today? Come take away the boots and put it outside. I don't know, father. So now the girl stammered, telling that I don't know, father. You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. Now the girl is slightly stammering. Stuttering means stammering. The father is repeating like her. He is imitating her. If you do like that, then your mother should be taking you to the doctor. She never stuttered with other people. Now Kezia never had the habit of stammering with other people. Had quite given it up. When she was young, she used to do that. But now she had already stopped stammering. But only with father, she was very scared to talk. Because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. Now, she was very unhappy. Kezia had a very unhappy look. So father is asking her, what does this matter? Why are you looking so unhappy? And he tells his mother, or Kezia's grandmother, that please teach her not to be like this, as if she is about to commit a suicide. Rather, teach her something good. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. Now the father is telling, take this teacup carefully and keep it on the table. He was so big, his hands and neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. Now Kezia is explaining how her father is. Her father is so big, with big mouth and big hands and neck. So whenever she thought about her father yawning, she would think he is a big giant. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face and his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. Now here you can see the picture wherein the girl is going on a Sunday afternoon to meet her mom and dad, to have a talk with them. But she always finds both of them busy in their own world. The lady, her mother, is busy reading the newspaper, and her father, what is he doing? He is having a handkerchief on his face and sleeping soundly on the sofa. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched, and asked the time, then looked at her. Now she would simply stand there and watch at him. And by the time he would get up and ask Kezia, don't stare so, Kezia, you look like a little brown owl. Now, father used to make fun of her. See, don't stare at me like that. You look like a little brown owl. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. Now, her grandmother suggests next week is your father's birthday, so you have to gift him something. So make a small, nice cushion, a soft cushion for him, a soft pillow for him, so that he'll be happy out of it. Laboriously, with double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides, but what to fill it with? That was the question. Now, she prepares a beautiful cushion. Like she stitches all the three sides of the cloth, and now she has to fill it with something, no, to make it like a pillow. That was a question. The grandmother was out in the garden, and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces, and stuffed her ease, then sewed up the fourth side. Now she goes to her mother's room or her father's room to check out if she gets something to fill up this pillow with. Then she finds a pile of papers lying over there. So she was very happy to see a pile of papers. She takes all the papers, tears the papers, and puts it into the cover or the cushion cover what she has stitched, and she stitches the fourth side also. So we'll stop at this point, my dear children. The rest of the story we'll take up in the next class. I'll be sending you the PDF document of this particular story in your WhatsApp groups. Please ensure that you read the story till where I have taught it. So till now we understood that Kezia is a girl who is really scared of her father. Her father is a bit strict person, and now she's planning to give him a birthday gift by preparing a cushion, and she has already prepared one. Now next what happens, we'll see in the next part of the story in the next class. Thank you, my dear children.